Hey y'all, yesterday you watched a video and took notes on how to solve two-step equations. So today we're going to be doing the same thing, but we're just going to be running through some practice together. So the first thing that you should be doing is opening your notebook that I gave you in class this week that you took home with you. And I want you to fold your paper in half so that you have two columns like we do here on this notebook. You're going to have two columns. So just go ahead and fold the paper in half, long ways. And then up top here, you're going to write the date on one side. Should be, what is tomorrow, the 1st? And then the title of the work that we're going to be doing, so two-step equations. All right, so once you have your paper all set up, we want to just go through a quick review of what we learned in the video yesterday. So a couple important things to remember. The first thing, and we've been talking about this all week, is inverse operations. So first you want to identify the operation, then apply the inverse. And if we remember, our inverse operations are addition and subtraction. So addition and subtraction cancel each other out, and then multiplication and division cancel each other out. Okay, the other thing that we need to remember for two-step equations specifically is that you have to go in reverse order of PEMDAS. So reverse. Now, what we mean by that is that the first thing that you're going to be doing is any addition or subtraction that you see. And then the second thing that you're going to be doing is any multiplication or division you see. And we're going to stop right there for now because with two-step equations, you won't have to worry about exponents or parentheses. So you just have to remember that you're doing addition or subtraction first, then you're doing your multiplication or division. Okay, the other notes that we talked about were that the sign, the sign, so let's say there's a plus or minus sign in your equation. It goes with the number or letter that follows. So what we mean by that is that the sign is always out in front of the number or letter that it goes with. And the last thing is if you have negative x, that's the same as negative 1x. And negative 1x means negative 1 times x. All right, so now that we remember all of those things about solving two-step equations, we're going to start out with a pretty simple example. So our first example that we're going to do together is 3x plus 4 equals 13. So you want to write that. That's pretty loud. You want to write that in your left-hand column. Now we want to see what are we going to do first. So addition or subtraction comes first. I see a plus 4 right here. So I'm going to do the inverse of addition, which is subtraction. If I do it from one side, I also have to do it to the other side of the equation so that it stays balanced. Our equal sign means it has to stay balanced. So once I do that, these cancel out, so I'm left with just 3x on that side, and then over here I need to do 13 minus 4, which is going to give me 9. Now in our right-hand column, this is where you're going to be taking your notes. So you need to tell me what you did and why you did it. So right here we subtracted 4 from both sides, and then the y is because, and if you write b/c like that, that's shorthand for because. So if you're trying to save space, you can write that. So we subtracted 4 from both sides because 4 was being added to 3x in our original equation. Okay, so now we have 3x equals 9, and we're not done yet. We still have to get x by itself. So the next thing that I'm looking for is multiplication or division. All right, well right here I see x is being multiplied by 3. 3x means 3 times x. So x is being multiplied by 3. We'll use the inverse of division. Divide both sides by 3. And, oh, sorry about that. These cancel out, and we have x equals 9 divided by 3 is 3. So again, we want to do our, sorry, I don't know if you guys can see that or if my face is covering it. Okay, you want to do your what and your y again. So what is divide both sides by 3 because x was multiplied by 3. Okay, so I'm going to move to a new page for the next one, but if you still have room on your paper, keep going on the same page. The next question we're going to do is 5 minus x equals 10. Now again, the first thing that I want to look for is if I have any addition or subtraction. So I see this negative sign right here in the middle in front of the x. But if we remember our notes from the beginning, negative x actually means negative 1 times x. So that's not what I'm looking for. The first thing that I'm actually going to do is subtract this 5 from both sides. I'm going to do minus 5, minus 5. Over on the left-hand side, these cancel out, and I'm left with negative x equals 10 minus 5 is 5. So what did I do? I subtracted 5 from both sides. And I did that because the 5 was positive. So if I want to get rid of a positive 5 that's by itself, not being multiplied by anything, I have to use subtraction to just subtract away that 5. Okay, and I don't have my final answer yet because this is negative x equals 5. I want to find out what positive x is. So negative x is the same thing as negative 1x, which means we are going to divide both sides by negative 1. These cancel out, and we are left with x equals 5 divided by negative 1 is negative 5. And because that one was a little different than what we're used to seeing, I want to plug it back in and make sure that I got the right answer. So I'm going to put negative 5 in place of where my x was in my original equation. So my original equation was 5 minus x equals 10. And I'm plugging in -5 for x. So if you guys remember, when you have a double negative, so minus a negative, that turns into a positive. So this would become 5 plus 5. And that is a true statement. 10 is equal to 10. So this was the correct value for x. So now that I know I did it right, what did I do? I divided by -1. Why did I do it? Because x was being multiplied by -1. Okay, moving on to the next example. We have -2x minus 6 equals 18. First, going to look for my addition or subtraction. Right here I see my -6, which is the one that's not attached to the x, so that's the one we're going to get rid of first. We'll get rid of that by using the inverse, adding to both sides, and we have -2x equals 18 plus 6 is going to give us 8 plus 6 is 14, carry the 1, that's 24. Okay, so what did I do? Add 6 to both sides. Y 6 was being subtracted from -2x. All right, now to get my final answer, I need to do my multiplication or division. I see right here that x is being multiplied by -2, so I'm going to divide both sides by -2, and that will give me sorry about that. That will give me x equals -12. So what did I do? I divided by -2, and I did that because x was multiplied by -2. All right, we're going to do one last example together, and then you're going to do a couple practice problems on your own. Our last one says -6 plus x equals 9. I'm first going to look to see if I have any addition or subtraction. Right here I have a -6 that is not attached to the variable, so the first thing that I'm going to do is add 6 to both sides. That's going to give me x equals 15. So it turns out this is actually just a one-step equation. So we're done when we find our answer right there, x equals 15. So what? I add 6 to both sides. Why? Because the 6 was negative and it was not attached to the x. So on your paper, you're going to continue on with 2 more examples. So you're going to do negative x plus 7 equals 32. You'll write that in the left-hand column and do your what and your y. For each of the two steps, this is a two-step equation. So you'll do your what and your y again. And then the last one is negative 100 plus 5x equals 350. And you'll do the same thing, providing your explanation down below for this one. When you're done with those two practice problems, you'll take a picture of the notes that you just copied, plus these practice problems, and submit those pictures onto the assignment on the Google Classroom.